All right, let's talk about generics. What do you want to know about them?
I mean, I guess basic construction of them. Like I kind of got an idea. I did a little bit of it in my project for Capstone, but I don't know. I guess I'm gonna make sure I'm using them right. Or
Sure.
um, is it always just you essentially are building out a type and then you can apply that across like just okay, I want this function to be these specific. Like it's going to take in these typed inputs and output these typed outputs without having to do that specifically on every single function.
Kind of. You might be overcomplicating this. A
Okay.
generic is just a variable, but for types.
Mhm.
So, like in type language, you say you have the type space and then you have the value space. So, in the value space, we have like variables that we can pass into functions and stuff, right?
Mhm.
In the type space for that, we have generics, and they serve the exact same function. They work the exact same way. They're scoped the same way, but they use that syntax instead of uh, parentheses.
Mhm.
So let me pull up my notes on these. All right, so here's my generics notes. Um, and these are like pretty good examples. So if let's say you were making a filter, we can put that T out there and say that, let's break this down. These are the parameters for the function. That's what the function returns. This is the function's return type. That's what it means to be of type filter. It's a function that takes in an array and takes in a function to filter with and returns an array. The thing is, you can filter fucking anything. You can filter numbers, you can filter strings, you can filter arrays of objects, you can filter whatever. All of this is saying is that whatever type that ends up being, it's the same here, it's the same here, and it's the same here. Because like with map, another good example, we're transforming something from a list of one things to a list of different things. So we're saying we take in an array of t's, we take in a function that takes in t's and turns them into u's and returns an array of u's. And so these generics are just saying that like, those are the things that are the same throughout that type.
Okay. And so where do you specify what T is? Like how do you?
When you're using it.
Okay.
So see if I can find, like, it would be like that.
Mhm.
That's you using the type that you have here. When you're saying, oh, well, this is of type filter. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be a little bit more specific. I'm going to specify the generic now. And it's just like passing a value in would be. So another really common case for those is promises. So like promise already has a definition that like you can just pull in and use, but you need to specify what the promise should resolve to with TypeScript. So that's going to end up being, still looking for an example. So like that's the lazy way to do it. This returns a promise, yeah, any type. Generics let you do a little bit better than that. Oh, come on, give me a decent one. There you go. So let's say you're making a new promise from scratch. That's how you'd say that it resolves to a string. That's how you'd say it should resolve to a Boolean. For more examples. Resolves to a number. So one of the other things that's like a little bit cool about generics and TypeScript is you can actually put them in a couple different places. So you could do it this way, and you can also do it this way. So it's the same as like scoping rules with values in JavaScript. So we could have a bunch of different signatures for this and have completely different like generic structure to those. Or we could say that every single thing in this shares the same meaning of T. So if I pass a T into that, then those types can be bound to everything in that.
So, I mean, in use of this, you would do something like export type filter, but you define it there as T. But then when you import it and run filter, you'd put in filter bracket number, and then everywhere there's a T, it's now
bingo.
It's now typed to number. Okay.
This is a super good example of it. Mm-hmm. And this is even using it. You're making a type out of a, you're making a concrete type out of a generic type. So you can pass that in, and now that has to be a string if you type something with that concrete type. Or you could just do shit like this everywhere you want to use that type. And then this is like the advanced version. You could also say that this will take anything in as long as it's a subtype of this, or as long as it's a subtype of this or this. So you can narrow which things are allowed to be used as generics also. That's a good way to put it. Preserves the original. That's me patting myself on the back for how well I phrased something. Preserves the original type while still constraining it in some way.
So this is sort of how you're talking about like the Liskov substitution, where you could have like a superclass and a subclass, like password, and then like strong password.
Bingo. So you could say it'll take anything as long as it extends string. It's going to be some kind of string, but it can be a more specific kind of string if you want. Cool, let's practice. Let's set up a TS project. Make an empty folder. We're going to call it generics practice. npm init-y. npm install TypeScript. And I'm going to npx tsc --init. Cool. And let's make an index.js file. Oops, sorry, index.ts. Like that. And let's make sure that we can tsify it. So we're going to npx tsc index.ts. Hey, it worked. All right, I'll give you a sec to get caught up. All the way from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. Make a new NPM project, install TypeScript, initialize a TS config, make an index.ts, and make sure that we can tsify something. I guess JSify some TS.
As long as your npx tsc index.ts doesn't throw an error.
It should generate an index.js file. Running that turns index.ts into index.js. So you should be able to go into that index.ts file, open that up in a text editor, and let's make sure that we can type stuff. So if I make some string and specify that it's a string, and I put my name and console log some string, I should get no red squigglies. And if I make it something bad, it should get pissed at me. Means we're playing with fire. Now let's see if we can do that exact same thing with a generic. If I say type name, and let's see. I'm actually curious if this will work. Let's see. I should be able to do that and say that no red squigglies. If I make it a Boolean, it should get pissed at me. Make it back a string, should be able to make that a Boolean. Gets pissed at me. It's happy with me now. I just made it a variable that I can control when I'm using it. I could do something like try to make that a union type. Can be whatever t is, or it's a Boolean. Either one's fine. And now, it's not mad at me if I try to make it false. If I try to make it a Boolean, that doesn't get mad at me either, but won't let me make it a string. It's just a variable. We could have more than one thing. We could say it could be a string or a number. So Kyle's cool. Also 2 is cool. Boolean, still not cool. Play around with that a little bit. Let me give you a couple minutes, just fuck around. See what breaks, see what doesn't break. Let's take 3 minutes on that.
Mine doesn't throw the breaking message like yours does.
You might need to install the, I thought it has that plugin by default. Hey, Damon, what's the VS Code TypeScript plugin?
I think I just have I don't know if I have the TypeScript plugin. Yeah, I don't have one.
I don't think I have one either.
Yeah.
Oh, holy shit. If like, now, Brian, are you getting red squigglies?
Yeah, I got errors, and if you hover over it, it'll tell you why. It's
Yeah.
because I think it works automatically in VS Code.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too, because they're both, in case you didn't know, TypeScript's a Microsoft product. So that shit should just work out of the box. Alan, why don't you screen share and see if we can get this figured out?
By this.
All right, it's a TS file.
Yeah, it's a crazy time.
It's weird.
Well, like that wouldn't throw an error. Try to make it a Boolean. Yeah.
Doesn't he need that to be type name instead of const name?
Oh, yep, that is absolutely true.
Yeah.
No const at all.
Yeah.
Const, some string. Oh, no, you did that right. Let's see. TypeScript get errors to show up in VS Code. See, did you get your TS config? Yeah, show me your TS config file. It's down the bottom, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's got strict mode on. Should be pissed as hell at you.
I mean, maybe I've got the ESLint installed too. Like maybe it'll still throw an error if he tries to actually compile it.
Yeah, why don't go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I imagine whenever we get to the next step, it would throw an error, but
Yeah, try it. See if that like triggers your computer to start getting pissed at you.
so what would I do to initiate that?
npx tsc index.ts. Oop, maybe that's why. All right,
No, that it's in the wrong.
Ah,
That one is here. So we do npx. That one?
yep. Okay, good. That's the problem we want. Click on that problems tab. It's like next to terminal. Goes terminal problems output. There we go. What in the fuck? Okay. And then if you, just out of curiosity, try setting some string to a string and try TSCing it again. Ooh, I found a setting that it might be. Oh, so it needs to be like an actual string. So just put in quotes. Cool. So
So I just have to run the test manually. So
no,
just
let's
this.
fuck that, dude. Like 80% of the benefit of TypeScript is the text editor goodies. So let's go to file. I'm looking for your workspace settings.
I don't even know where to look for that.
Me neither. So
What do you? I didn't hear it.
workspace settings.
I think if you do Command Shift P, it'll bring up your palette, and you might be able to type in workspace settings.
Yeah. Or just settings. Yeah, open workspace settings. Yeah, that first one. Nope.
This one says settings.json.
All right, cool. Open that up. Yep, enter. And you want to make it in double quotes. You're going to do settings. And then a colon after it, outside of the double quotes. And then that's going to be an object. Nope, like the squirrely brackets. Nope. Yep, there you go. Open that up. And then do double quotes, TypeScript.enable, or sorry, TypeScript.validate.enable. And then colon true. Cool, just like that. Save it. And then I kind of wonder if you have to reload. Go back over to like your index.ts. And then is there a, under view, is there a refresh?
Here's view.
Up in your top level menu.
Oh.
I usually just have to back out and completely restart it anytime I change anything.
All right.
The all of VS Code or the file?
All of VS Code.
I'm confident one of these decades it'll catch up.
All right, now make that not a string. Let's see if we can make it get mad. Ha! Let's see if there's a WSL issue. WSL VS Code TypeScript show inline errors. Oh, it might be you need the global install. Open up your terminal, do npm install -g TypeScript.
Okay. What's the I then for? Where are we trying to install it locally? Does it have to be done both places, or?
Yeah, if you install it locally, it's just in that folder. It works very differently than gems do. Gems are like every version of it is installed on your computer and then used by the project. Node modules, the major difference between them is they're installed in the folder. And so like the way that gem people talk shit about NPM is like, all right, cool. Well, you have like 400 gigs of node modules folders with identical packages, like every project you have. It also makes them a lot easier to figure out. npm install -g TypeScript. All right, cool. So go back over your text editor and oh, it might be in business. Hover over your squiggly there. Turn off the breakpoint. What's the, like hover over the string, the squiggly under it. Hey, you got inline errors.
Wait.
There you go. Cool. So now let's do this with a function. Let's try doing let's pull all this out. Let's see if we can define a function that takes in a generic parameter. So we say function, what is my name? And it takes in a name of type T, oh, shoot, of T, maybe? Nope. Do it outside of it. There we go. And console logs the name. And if we call what is my name, and then tell it how we want it to define that thing, and then invoke it, maybe. And cool. It's not mad at me. And if I try to run it, npx tsc index.ts, and then node, oops, that's right, can't do that. Node index.js, there it is. Using generics, baby. I tried making that something else. Not assignable. That's your like 95% use case on generics. What questions do you have?
I guess, how is this different? It seems almost a lot like designing interfaces too.
Identical.
Okay, so I mean, what? I guess the interface is when you want to be a lot more specific than, or is it?
ODP versus FP.
Oh, okay, so it's exactly the same thing. Okay. All right, because I used an interface for I used 3 of them, but I didn't ever touch the generic, so I didn't know what the difference was.
Yep. Like as far as I know, like I'm also kind of new to TypeScript.
Okay.
Like those are 2 ways of solving roughly the same problem. And like makes sense. Promises are the like functional way of doing what an OO would be futures or something like that. Awesome. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
No, this was like really helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm glad.
I've been messing around with this stuff and couldn't figure it out. So thank you.
Awesome. Cool. You guys can stand down.
See you.
So